What's up, guys? Today we have big news coming out of the fantasy football business. Not great for SFS here. Miles Sanders has went down at Eagles practice with an undisclosed lower body injury. This news has a bit of a personal burn to it, as I have picked him already in 3 leagues as a high choice, and I even took him with my first pick in my Dynasty draft. You can check out my Dynasty deep dive that I just put out this morning, about an hour ago. I picked him in the second round of my Dynasty draft, so really need things to be okay there with Sanders. But then in my redraft leagues, I've taken him in 2 already, so this is huge news for me, especially, and the rest of the fantasy football world, because Miles Sanders is a guy who had tremendous upside this season and had the chance to really explode and become a fantasy superstar this year. So if this injury is something more than it sounds right now, it could have a huge impact on the way that fantasy drafts uh, play out this season, and it could be really detrimental to a lot of teams. Sanders' main draw for me this year was his talent paired with the fact that he had little to no competition in the backfield with him to start off the year. And the Eagle staff and organization talked all offseason about how excited they were for Sanders and how much they were going to use him in this offense. And this injury couldn't come at a worse time. We're 2.5, 3 weeks from the kickoff of the NFL season, and teams, you just need a running back on your roster. And Sanders' injury, like I said, couldn't come at a worse time because him and Boston Scott are currently dealing with lower body injuries, which means that Corey Clement is going to be taking a lot of first team reps, and there's not really anything after him on the roster. So my main fear with this injury is that it's not only going to nag and cause his in-season production to be hindered, but the fact that the Eagles could potentially bring in somebody like Devontae Freeman or another veteran running back who could steal some touches and decrease his overall upside, which would be a huge killer for a lot of my fantasy leagues. Sanders has top 5 RB upside this season, or at least had it before this injury, and owners of Sanders need to keep their fingers crossed that the Eagles don't bring in another guy and this is seriously a very minor injury and doesn't affect his play or practice time this season. If Sanders isn't able to practice before the start of the regular season, I'm going to have huge worries, not only because I'm going to have to start him in a lot of my leagues based off of where I picked him, but because if you're not practicing, you're not getting into game shape. And if you go on the field and you already have some sort of an ailment or injury, you're that much more likely to get re-injured or increase the severity of your injury. So Sanders having a nagging injury now could become something much, much worse if he continues to not practice and then suits up not fully healthy week 1 and tries to go in as a workhorse lead back. He could have something go horribly wrong, and he could leave himself and fantasy owners in a not great situation health-wise and for your fantasy lineups. I would still, for the time being, draft Sanders as a top 10 running back in all formats, but I'm not taking him around that 6 to 7, and I would even push him into the top 5 sometimes in most leagues. Sanders just has a little bit too much risk associated with him now, and especially if they do bring in a veteran guy, then I'm going to have to push him even farther down my boards, which really sucks, especially because I've already invested so much into him. And if you get Sanders, you're going to need to pick whoever they bring in or Boston Scott as well as a handcuff, because he's carrying a lot more risk around right now than he was just yesterday. So if you're going to invest in Sanders in your league, you need some sort of a backup option and a guy that's going to be able to bail you out if the Sanders route doesn't work out. As unfortunate as it is, because I already own so many shares of Sanders, it's just a reminder that leagues need to be pushed back, and especially redraft leagues. Dynasty leagues are already done with for the most part, but if you're still planning a redraft league, push it as close as you can to the start of the regular season, because it'll help your league avoid injuries that can derail a team and take them out of contention. I remember a couple years back, one of my buddies picked Jerick McKinnon in like the top 4 rounds, and then he tore his ACL like the next day. So just drafting too early can really suck and can really screw a team over. So I advise that you guys keep your drafts as close to the start of that Thursday night kickoff as you can. maybe somewhere around Labor Day if you're able to do that. But yeah, so this is my initial take on the Miles Sanders injury. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. I'll have a new mock draft where I will break down the Miles Sanders injury even more coming out this Friday. So stay tuned for that. I'll analyze him on the board and how I see him being ranked going forward with this injury taken into account. So also be on the lookout for Madden 21 is going to come out next week sometime, so I'll be putting out some videos on that. So, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, and make sure to go give me a follow on Instagram at Sizzle Fantasy Sports. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.